lifeline of our industry, lead management, cold and hot leads. So please give a warm welcome to my co-moderator, Wendy Forsythe, and her panel of experts.
All right, so we are talking about lead management. So I'm going to ask my panel to introduce themselves to all of you and let us know kind of who they are and what they do.
Great.
So you're up first.
Hi everyone, my name is Malik. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Conversion Monster. I also run a real estate team at Keller Williams Chicago Lincoln Park, and I'm excited to be here today.
Great.
I'm Lyszczarz. I own Remax Select with about 400 agents in Central Jersey and Florida.
Great. Shannon Williams, happy to be here with Boomtown, lead sales and marketing efforts there. And our mission's pretty simple, to make real estate agents more successful. So.
Awesome. Okay, so we are talking about online leads and the management of online leads. So we have three different perspectives here. Ro, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
You're a practitioner first, very successful team lead. Then you started Conversion Monster to sort of get into the kind of ISA model and helping agents convert, leads. Based on that experience, what do you think the future is of the online lead?
Yeah, so in terms of where we're going, I think right now the industry is probably somewhere around 200 million internet leads. And I think they mentioned yesterday, we're also around 5.6, 5.7 million home sales every year. But I don't see that slowing down. So, home sales are probably going to stay relatively consistent, but internet leads are going to continue to get added.
As in more leads?
As in more leads and more leads. And so if you don't have systems and processes in place, it's going to be very difficult to convert them. Mm-hmm. And so part of that process is that, speed to lead is very important, but you also have the systems and processes for follow-up, and then you have to nurture for the long term. So you've got to have all three of those components in place to be successful when what I see now and in the very near future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rob, how many agents do you have in your offices?
400.
400 agents. So how well do those agents do at speed to lead?
It's as unique as the agents are themselves, and consistency is one of the benchmarks or foundations to success. And companies like Rose trying to help the agents stay focused on what they need to do is kind of key to the sustainability and the viability of the model.
Right. So I guess what I'm getting at, and I probably phrased that the wrong way because I don't want you to have to talk about your own agents, but in general, agents do a really bad job at speed to lead, right?
Correct.
Right. And so in your business, you started your own internal ISA as a broker owner to say, look, my agents aren't doing this well. I got to step in and help because this is missed opportunity.
Correct. I'm trying to add more consistency and value to the process and improve the quality of the engagement. So that will hopefully help the system continue to evolve and produce positive results.
Got it. Okay. So Shannon, you have a different perspective, again, working for Boomtown, one of the best website CRM platforms out there. You guys have moved sort of further upstream as well in terms of how to help agents be better at sort of the speed to lead concept. So share with us a little bit about what you're seeing and how that is playing out.
Sure, I agree with what Rose said. It's a combination of all of those, but it's not just the quality of the lead, it is speed to lead, but it's the quality of that engagement and the quality of the conversation and that long-term nurture. So depending on where that lead comes from, majority being online, it's really important that the speed to lead is there, the accountability is there, but it's really that human element and that engagement and that qualification that really makes a difference.
Got it. So I was talking with an agent on Monday that told me they had gotten 120 leads since December, and also then shared that they hadn't followed up with any of those leads. So I think some of you probably know stories like that. So from your guys' vantage point, would we as agents be better off to let a third-party company, whether it be our broker or one of yours or Zillow or whomever, do that initial sort of lead contact and lead nurture? Or should we continue to say, no, give me the lead, I'll figure out what I want to do with it?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly why I needed a solution for myself as an agent. So, I've been an agent for 10 years, and I saw the supply of, internet leads increase. It was like 10 million leads in 2009, and then 20 million, 30 million, and 40 million. I saw the conversion was just getting much more difficult each successive year. It was just, I was putting that much more work into converting the same amount of business. And I said, man, this is just not a great utilization of my time. There's got to be a better solution. And as agents, we're out there, we're showing properties, we're going on listing presentations, appraisals, inspections. I mean, you're outside of the office the majority of the time. So how realistic is it all the time that when a lead comes in, you're going to be able to respond in 5 minutes? It's just not that realistic. And so I said, this model is kind of broken. Like, leads should not be necessarily always flowing directly to the agent. It should go to somebody who's able to, whether that's an ISA or an admin or somebody that can at least scrub that lead first to see if it's a viable opportunity, and then get the qualified leads over into the agent's hands.
So Rob, that's kind of the philosophy that you've built, your lead team on.
Yes.
Has that been working? What's the difference, sort of before and after, as you've gone through this?
So I think, if you have that quality first engagement, like Rose's mission is to engage them at a high level, you also need to have the handoff or the communication between the person doing that and the expectation. Because if you outsource or you have somebody even internally making those connections and there's no synergy with the agents, the consumer experience is lowered, and that reduces the viability of the whole relationship. I almost think that when I look at how do I improve what we do, I try to look backwards at, hey, here's the outcome we want to get, and let's work backwards instead of going and say, hey, how can I generate the leads and then design a system going forward? Because I'm more focused on what's the consumer experience, how can we add more value so that it is a sustainable and a profitable investment.
Okay, and can you share with us a little bit about how you approach generating the leads?
So I'm a client of Boomtown. I've had that for many years. I have other platforms, and we're always experimenting with different lead sources. And I would say the quality of the back end is more important than the front end. If the leads are viable, if you don't handle them correctly, you'll have a very muted success rate. So it's tough. Like when you said there's 200+ million leads, the odds are not in your favor unless you do something different. You have to have a different perspective from what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. So Shannon, when you think of the system of sort of managing the lead, what should we as practitioners be thinking about around our own sort of systems that we have in our businesses?
Yeah, so speed to lead obviously is critical, but it's that long-term nurture and that engagement. I think we've talked about it before, really personalizing that experience, and that's really what it's about, is the relationship, building that trust, being that trusted advisor. And so to your earlier question around how potentially Rob would think of passing off or relinquishing control, for us, it's an extension, right? We want to be an extension of that brand, whether it's through the systems or the services or the people that we have.
Okay, so what are the latest stats on, it's been mentioned a number of times that, look, there's all these leads. There's way more leads than turn into transactions.
Sure.
So what are the latest stats on how long from the first time a lead might come in from when they may actually end up transacting? What are you guys seeing around that?
So, I mean, we base it on from the time that a lead first registers online, which means that they're first starting their search process, to the time they actually close can be 8 to 14 months.
8 to 14 months.
And we feel that's the greatest missed opportunity, is because when, again, as real estate agents, we're 100% commission. We got to put food on the table next month.
8 to 14 months is like
right.
3 lifetimes.
When you hear somebody say, hey, I'm a year out, oh, I'm just starting, I'm in a lease for the next, year, you're kind of like, oh, okay, great. Well, I'll call you back. But that's where the opportunity gets missed.
Right.
Because we go, well, we'll call you back in 6 months or whatever. They're gone.
And that's
by
where the
then.
system becomes so important.
Right,
Exactly.
the drip campaigns or the follow-up campaigns, whether it's email or text or phone calls, to engage and build that relationship, to convert them when they're ready. And it depends on source, but really that's where it all comes together.
I think like broad brushing it where you say it's 8 to 14 months is sometimes a dangerous statement to say, because sometimes we all get these leads that have been in the buying process and they've come to us, 13 months in the process, and they can be a really quick transaction. I would say, in looking at the different places that you can, generate your traffic, they all have different characteristics. So some leads tend to be more unique to you. The Boomtown leads tend to have, less exhaustion from people calling them because they're more unique to your site. So you need to build that relationship early on. There are some other lead sources where you're basically competing because they've inquired about one property here, one there, and they're getting called by 6 people within the first 24 hours. So you really need to have a high level of skill when you engage with those leads.
So you make a great point. I'm in the sort of sales funnel for a long time. I'm on lots of different sites. I'm clicking lots of different, lead forms. I might be getting lots of callbacks. How do we stay top of mind? If I come into your funnel at month 10 and I'm in Shannon's funnel at, month 8 and I'm in Rob's at, month 6, I may at, D-Day not transact with any of you guys.
Sure.
So how do we balance that as an industry?
So for us is like the end user, like we're always focusing on being prepared. So we're asking the right questions. Ro, you mentioned like, when is your lease up? Like, these are clues that help you to identify the leads that are red hot versus the leads that are in a nurture or even a long-term nurture. And if your leads go into like a nurture or long-term nurture, having a system, like Shannon's product Boomtown gives you that ability operating behind the scenes, having outsourced people calling, if your agents are on the same page, that also adds a lot of value for the long-term conversion process. And it ultimately comes down to how do you best serve the customer so that they don't leave you or abandon you. They have so many options right now where they can go that they want to have a place where they feel valued. They feel like you're adding something to the process. You're just not a used car salesperson trying to make that immediate sale.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of times in a setting like this, I would ask you tips or like sort of a takeaway. I want to flip the question. I mean, you guys have such a unique vantage point. What mistakes do you see us making in the industry from your viewpoint that we should stop making when it comes to online leads?
Well, I think that, I'm just being really honest, that I think agents are really apathetic because you kind of feel like, well, I got 100 leads or 200 leads. I missed those today. I got 3 more coming in tomorrow, right? So there's this sense of like, well, it probably wasn't that great of a lead anyways, or I missed it.
Right.
It's no point now, it's been an hour, and I know the whole thing is 5 minutes, right? So I've already
Right.
missed my opportunity. And because with that attitude of like, well, I've got 3 more tomorrow, you're sort of really, it's really hard to calculate like the cost of a lost opportunity. And so they're not taking the time to really realize that with this idea of like, well, I got 3 more coming tomorrow, 3 more coming tomorrow. That could have been the one. That could have led to $1 million,
But why is it that, and Rob, jump in on this as well, as a broker owner who's recruiting agents. When I'm recruiting agents want to know, I want to be with a broker that has leads. Do you give me leads? What's your lead program? But then we flip the other side of that, and agents get leads and don't follow up on them and don't call them. So why do we have such a disconnect between what we say we want and what we actually do in this industry?
So I would say, having done this for 11, 12 years on the lead gen side and providing leads to agents, some of the mistakes that I've made was I assumed that a high-producing, very competent agent would be proficient and efficient at online leads, which was a bad mistake that probably cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. And another thing that I would say is if you love what you do, you love your agents, you need to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Because successful agents will love you back more than if you don't hold them accountable. what doesn't get measured doesn't improve, and to the point that you had, if you get 100 leads but you don't call them, you'll have 0 conversion. And if it's the agent spending their own money, or if it's a broker that's making that investment in their team, you really owe it to your agents to hold them accountable to be everything that they can with the leads.
Okay.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think agents are focusing on what's the more dollar productive activity, and to your point, it's building that pipeline of opportunity and staying on top of it and managing themselves to that, but it's easy to focus on the showings and the closings and not the lead follow-up in that case.
Right, okay. Well, very interesting conversation. Thank you for all that you do to help us be better. I mean, it's such an opportunity that we have. These are consumers who, at some point, are looking for our services. So we really do need to, treat them with the urgency and respect and world-class service that they deserve. So I appreciate your input, and thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.